Hey guys, I'm EJ and this is Kendall here, and today we're going to be giving you guys our top 10 point guards for the 2018-2019 season. Now, Kendall, the point guard position is really a spot that's become revolutionized with how the position is played. It is a dynamic position. The players that play that spot are offensive juggernauts. It's really much different than how the position was traditionally played 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, and what I think is what's fun about the point guard position, almost more than every other position in the league, is that I feel like these guys are all sort of different. I don't think we have some of these guys are similar amongst themselves, but you can have a guy like Kyrie who's just like a scorer that can play the point guard, but is mostly designed to score the basketball. You have a guy like Ben Simmons that is 6'10", that also happens to be a point guard.
Right.
So it's totally different players. Steph Curry is not similar to John Wall in any way, but they all play the same position, and they're all great in their own right. So it's very interesting to see how these guys even stack up amongst themselves.
So, Kendall, you want to give your list?
Oh, I will give my list. I have it right here. At 10, I have a little bit of a surprise, but I'm going to go with Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks, the rookie, who some may or may not say is a point guard. But 9, I've got Kyle Lowry from the Toronto Raptors. At 8, I've got Kemba Walker from the Charlotte Hornets. At 7, I've got Ben Simmons, again, 6'10", Australian point guard from the Philadelphia 76ers. At 6, I have John Wall from the Washington Wizards. 5, Damian Lillard from the Portland Trailblazers. 4, I've got Russell Westbrook from the Oklahoma City Thunder. 3, I have Kyrie Irving from the Boston Celtics. 2, I have Chris Paul from the Houston Rockets. And 1, I have Stephen Curry from the Golden State Warriors.
So my list is pretty different in the top 5. It's pretty different throughout, actually, though a lot of the same players. Number 10, I have Goran Dragic, actually, from the Miami Heat. At 9, I went with Kemba Walker from Charlotte. 8, Kyle Lowry. 7, John Wall. 6, Ben Simmons. 5, Chris Paul. 4, Damian Lillard. 3, Kyrie Irving. 2, Russell Westbrook. And 1, Stephen Curry. The biggest discrepancy I see is Chris Paul from Westbrook, 2 to 5. And I have Westbrook at 2, you have Westbrook at 4. So let's talk about Chris Paul for a bit. You still have him as the second best point guard.
We're talking about the point guard, man.
Even at this point in his career.
It's tough. I mean, Chris Paul and Kyrie is like splitting hairs.
Right.
I guess for me, I value what I see in the postseason almost more than I value what I see in the regular season. Because the regular season is what you can do in the dog days of, March of the NBA season when half the teams are tanking, the other half is injured or resting guys, and guys are just spatting their stats. I mean, Westbrook's a great player, but I feel like when we get to the postseason, he becomes a little bit more muted in what he can do. Whereas I feel like Chris Paul raises his level of competition and raises his game a little bit to the level of competition. Same with Kyrie Irving. Same with Steph Curry. Westbrook is a regular season guy. It's similar with teams where it's like, yeah, the Toronto Raptors were the 1 seed, but were they ever going to win a championship? Probably not. Mm-hmm. The Rockets were a 1 seed in the West, but I think most people realize they probably weren't better than the Warriors. So, and we saw what happened to the Rockets when Chris Paul got hurt. So, I think Chris Paul, I only have him ahead of Kyrie because we didn't see what Kyrie would have looked like in Boston in the postseason.
I mean, the Chris Paul thing's interesting. I'm at 5. I do feel like I get what you're saying about the regular season and comparing that to the postseason having more weight. But I do think there is something to being able to play 82 games. You're always there for your team.
Right.
You're there for every game. And like Chris Paul, I mean, talent-wise or how he plays the position, you could absolutely make the case that he's the second best at playing the position of point guard in the league right now. I just don't think he does it enough at that high level. He showed in the postseason he could still ratchet it up and play that level, especially in that Western Conference Finals against the Warriors. But there is something about being able to do it for 82 games and then over the course of a season that still matters to me.
I wasn't really considering durability. The only other thing I would mention is that with Chris Paul and Westbrook is that Chris Paul makes his players, like Clint Capella especially, much better than they actually are.
And that's something that there's been a question about Westbrook with how with what happened to Melo, with what happened to Paul George in the second half of last season and in the playoffs. I just think, and Oladipo having a huge jump leaving Westbrook when he went to the Pacers. But at the end of the day, Westbrook's production is something that you can't ignore. The guy is average triple-double back-to-back years. He's a super high assist man. He's an impact on the backboards. He can get 30 on any given night. He's just a terror. And I think if you're a team game planning for either player or any players in the league, I think Westbrook's got to be one of the top guys that just drives you crazy. And I understand some of the issues with what it was a disappointing postseason. It was a disappointing overall season, really, for what happened with the Oklahoma City Thunder. But at the end of the day, part of that I think has to go to what I thought was not the greatest coaching job, not the greatest job in terms of putting together a roster to play around Russell. And I think at the end of the day also, Russ is, again, like I said, his production is something that just can't be ignored. The guy's averaging 25, 10, and 10. I mean, that's just like, I can't say there are 3 or 4 guys at his position better.
Now, I noticed you were miffed that I had Luka Doncic on the list, obviously rookie. Is it because he was a rookie?
I mean, not Doncic is not a point guard.
You don't think that Luka Doncic is a point guard?
No.
See, the thing about...
He's like a point forward.
I mean, in Europe, he's considered a point guard. I don't know. I mean, the people in the comments, the Europeans that are going to be watching this video will be...
They will let us know.
They'll be like, the idiot in the Grizzlies jersey...
Anytime we talk about Luka, they let us know.
The idiot in the Grizzlies jersey doesn't realize Doncic is a point guard. But, no, I think Doncic... he was an initiator for Real Madrid. I think he's a point guard in the same vein Simmons Simmons is, and I think he can have a similar impact to the Mavericks that Ben Simmons had for the Sixers.
I think that also depends on the team he's on, because Real Madrid didn't have as great point guards.
Sergio Llull had gotten hurt.
Yeah, Llull was not playing, so Doncic orchestrated the offense more. That was probably partly because he can do it, but also out of necessity. When he was playing for Slovenia, he was playing with Dragic, where he was playing more of the ball. He's playing with Dennis Smith now. I think Dennis Smith's still going to have the ball in his hands a lot. I still think he's going to orchestrate the offense a lot. It may not look as pretty when Luka's doing it, but they're not going to just now have Dennis Smith playing shooting guard all the time. It's still going to be a lot of Dennis Smith handling the rock. So I can't really count him as a point guard. To me, he's a point forward. Like Ben Simmons, he orchestrates the offense every time down the floor. He is like the quarterback of that team.
If you consider Doncic a point guard, though, would he be on the list? Or would he even...
he still wouldn't have made my top 10.
Right.
That's
he would have been more of the discussion.
He would have... To me, my guy who just missed out was Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is a guy who I think could make a jump in this next year. He already made a jump from averaging almost a little under 10 points to averaging 16 last year. He's a great shooter. He's a guy who can light it up in terms of a guy who can quickly get hot and fill it up quickly. He can score. I know he's not a great assist guy. He's still working on trying to run a team. Having Jokic running the show kind of as a point center helps him a lot. It's going to hurt his assist numbers, but I think it helps him as a scorer. I think Jamal Murray and the Nuggets could be in for a big year. So he very narrowly missed this list. And I think in midseason, I may regret not having him in his top 10. I think he can end up having a great year.
Everybody will regret not having Doncic in their top 10 by midseason.
But the other thing that was curious to me was the Simmons versus Wall thing. We both had them next to each other, but I had Simmons over Wall. My issues with Wall...
Two clutch sports guys.
They're both clutch sports guys. They've always been candidates for guys who will play with LeBron at some point. My issues with Wall, I thought took a step back last year. I think he's a player who in the postseason looked slower, less athletic than he has in the past. His defense last year dipped. He had the whole issue with being a leader. You got guys saying that they're better without him. Last year just wasn't a great year for the Wizards and John Wall. They took a step back as a team. He took a step back as a player. And Simmons seems like a guy who's on the ascension. He had a great rookie season. It didn't end well with the Boston series, but he's a rookie. You got to go through those lumps before you eventually have that playoff success. And I look at a guy who impacts the game more. I got to go with Simmons because right now I think he's a better defender and he's a much better rebounder and he runs the team better.
Those are all strong statements because John Wall.
One of the best
defensive point guards.
Still a great player, but Ben Simmons
playmaking.
Look at the sabermetric stats for Ben Simmons defensively. Look at what players do against him. He's 6'10". It's so hard to score on him.
I think Wall was better last year, and I think that Wall, when he was out there, which wasn't a whole lot, but And I think when you also throw in the fact that Simmons, I think, has a bit of a ceiling until he gets a jump shot. And look, I mean, all I saw of Ben Simmons this offseason, besides one video of him working out with LeBron at
in New York with Chris Brinkley. Shout out to Chris Brinkley.
Chris Brinkley. All I saw of him was him and Kendall Jenner doing, whatever.
Why are you bringing Kendall Jenner into this?
On TMZ. I didn't see.
I'm gonna start calling you Kendall Minaj, like Nicki Minaj getting on Kylie Jenner. Now you're getting on Kendall Jenner.
No, I didn't see the workout videos that I saw from Jaylen Brown, that I saw from, Donovan Mitchell, that I saw from all these guys, these workout warriors. Simmons, I saw on TMZ.
But is that really?
Is he working on his game?
But I feel like some of that stuff is not fair. Like, we can't say because I didn't see an Instagram video, a 15-second video of him working out. That means he's not working out.
At least I know Markel Fultz is with Drew Hanlon. I don't know what Simmons is doing. Simmons, I see him. He's on the late night shows, shooting with his right hand instead of his left hand. And people are like, what hand is he going to shoot?
But at the end of the day, Kendall, remember, like what's the name said, Terry Rozier. That all that stuff doesn't count when the real game starts. Whatever Rozier said in that post, which was a sneak diss to all these guys with their workout posts.
Right.
All those drills don't mean nothing when the real bullets start flying, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I feel fine with Simmons ahead of Wall this year, and I don't think there's any disagreement for us with Steph Curry, number one, obviously.
Nah.
He has 3 rings. He can still shoot from 35 feet out consistently. He's as hard to guard as anyone in the league, let alone at the position. So as long as he can do what he can do, he's going to be number one for a while. That does it for our video on the top NBA point guards this year. Be sure to leave a comment below on the guys you think should have made the cut or where you think guys should have been ranked here on this list. And also be sure to like this video.
And as Terry Rozier put it, all those drills don't make you a dog in wartime.
There you go. That was the quote I was looking for. So, but once again, make sure you guys leave a comment. Make sure you guys like our video and subscribe to the channel. But this is Kendall. I'm EJ. We'll see you guys later. Peace.